I need you guys to please confirm to me that you're not going to bully me, okay? I worked really hard on this. I want you guys to put it on the fridge. Is that fine? Oh, why are you guys saying white background? Do you need a theme? Wait, is this better? Oh, that looks better. Okay, agree. Okay, all right, good. This is supposed to be a fun discussion talking about power creep and Hearthstone, okay? Everyone say yes. Everyone say we're going to be on our best behavior today, okay? I worked hard on this. Chat, what is power creep? Power creep is the gradual introduction of increasingly powerful characters' items or abilities in the game. Over time, these units make older previously standard content obsolete. Developers often use this mechanism to encourage players to purchase new content or keep long-running games engaging. Have you guys heard of a game that does this? In Hearthstone specifically, new cards are often stronger to promote new strategies and to make money, mainly the second one. I think we can all agree on that one. But you could say the same thing about Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, card games in general, obviously make new cards to make money. That makes a lot of sense, okay? How much power creep has there actually been? Is the question that we're going to be asking today. You guys, I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking to yourself, this game's been power crept out of the fucking world, bro. If you go back to classic and you look what it is today, Hearthstone is not even close to the same place it was. And that's exactly what we're gonna do today, chat. I didn't know what to put on this slide. Okay, before we get to this, chat, we have a couple ground rules, all right? We're asking today is, would the classic version see play in current standard before Violet Hold, okay? I don't know what Violet Hold's gonna have in the full expansion. I don't know what it is, but we do know currently what Hearthstone looks like today. Get me off your second monitor right now. Main monitor right now. We're looking at only minions. We could do spells in a different video, okay, for the record, but I do think spells are very good in classic as well. Thirdly, most importantly, dare I add, be respectful to your streamer. This is just his opinion. We will not continue the slideshow until everyone says yes. You have to consent. You have to consent. That's the rule. You guys can't say no deal. That's not the rules. Let's start out with zero mana cards. In classic, there's only one 0 mana card, chat, and that one 0 mana card is Wisp. That's the only one. In standard, we have 2 0 mana minions. We have Wisp. Actually, wait, is Wisp still in standard? In standard, we only have 1 0 mana card, and that is, or 0 mana minion. That is Witch's Apprentice. Now, here's the thing. Witch's Apprentice used to be 1 mana. Now, the question is, chat, would Wisp see play in current standard? And as we saw last year, Wisp is actually very likely to see play in standard, which is great for this whole video because we're starting off strong that already classic isn't that far off from standard, which is great. Okay, we're now gonna go to neutrals first, because I know there's going to be some rat bastard in the comments that go, Rarran, you can't compare neutrals to class cards. That's not how that works. Good for you, buddy. I'm doing both. All right, let's talk about that. Stop saying Ask 11 PowerPoint. I worked really hard on this. All right, this is going to be a great video. Everyone's going to love it. I went to classic Hearthstone and I asked myself, what do I think is the best neutral minions in all of classic for 1 mana? And my discovery was Leopardome and Abusive Sergeant. Now, it is important to note that Abusive Sergeant is at 2 attack for this. Okay, now you might be asking yourself, Rarran, why is it grayed out like this? Because when I copied it from Hearthstone's website, it has 1 attack, and I was too lazy to go find the classic version of Abusive Sergeant. So I figured it was easier to put this over there. I asked you guys yesterday, chat, to confirm with me, what do we think is the best neutral 1-drops in standard currently? We have Sizzling Cinder and Twilight Egg. Now there's you could make some cases that like there are a couple other ones we should consider, but I looked at what I believed is the 2 best neutral minions at 1 cost for standard. Okay, so we all agree that Egg and Cinder are good. They're both currently being played, especially Egg. Egg is in a variety of different decks. On top of that, Egg also recently got nerfed. They used to summon a 2/2. But the question is, chat, would Abusive Sergeant or Leopardome see play today in standard? And I think the Pepe shows you how I feel about this. If you do not think Leopardome would not see play currently in standard, you need to leave. you need to reevaluate what you're doing with your life. Maybe go step outside. Leopardome would 100% see play. Now, Abusive Sergeant, I think you can make the case that maybe not in every single deck it would see play, but currently in standard as a 1 mana 1/1, it does see play. I'm making the case that Abusive Sergeant would also see play in almost every single aggro deck as a 2/1. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Beautiful. I'm glad we're on the same page. Think you could make the case that Leopardome might be the best 1-drop for neutrals in the entire standard pool. I'm just putting it out there. We'll continue going. Then we look at classic. For class minions, right? We got the goat flame imp, we got the goat mana worm, right? Both of these in their own respective way were very good in classic. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't think flame imp is that good anymore because it's in standard and it doesn't see a lot of play, but don't get it fucking twisted, bro. 1 mana, a turn 1 flame imp, GG. Like, it was cooked. It's cooked from the very beginning. Mana worm also in the same regard was if you play this on turn 1 and your opponent did not really have an answer to the mana worm, it was probably just GG anyways. Like, it's the same philosophy here. A lot of damage. Now, flame imp currently in standard, I will say there's not really a good aggro zoo warlock deck that really supports it. So there's still a chance that flame imp would be played today. But I think flame imp is just like, it needs like the deck to support its vision. You know, flame imp is a dreamer, but there's no decks that really help him fulfill his dream. But we look at class cards, and I picked Hunter for the 2 class cards here because I figured, at least in my opinion, you guys could disagree here, that Hunter has the 2 best 1-drops in the game. If we're not considering flame imp, it's already in standard. Fletcher is 1 mana 1/3, your hero power costs 0 while your hand has 3 or less cards. That card's insane. And to be honest with you, it might be the best 1-drop on this page. We could agree or disagree. Also, we have Reinforcement Rallier, which is a 1 mana 2/2 and it's elusive. You could make the case that there are a couple other options in standard right now to showcase here, but I think this just proves the case. Raptor Nurse is also insane. Guys, pretend Raptor Nurse is on the page. Rarran, you're so smart. Okay, everyone together. Rarran, you're so smart for putting Raptor Nurse on the slideshow because it's very good. Like, can you guys type that a little bit? We can make it a little bit better. Guys, come on, help me out here. Thank you. Okay, basically what I'm saying is, in the same vein as the neutrals, class cards, I actually think kind of equal in power level from classic Hearthstone all the way up to standard. Would you agree or disagree? Would Mana Worm or Flame Imp see play today? Flame Imp, like I said earlier, is currently in standard and it would see play in an aggro Zoolock deck. Currently there is none, but there is a really good chance that Flame Imp would see play. Mana Worm, I think would 100% see play right now because there's a card called Raincaller that is currently played in the aggro mage deck that is just objectively worse than the Mana Worm. Objectively worse in my opinion. And I 100% agree, or I'm not 100% agree. I agree with myself, of course, that if Mana Worm was added to standard, you would take Raincaller out, you put Mana Worm in. Would you guys agree with me that both of these cards could see play in current standard?
Agree.
Get to the point. I'll help you out, brother. There's a 1-hour timeout. There we go. I'm back in an hour. This slideshow is unironically 67 slides. So we're here for a long haul, brother. You picked the wrong day to come to a TED Talk. 1-cost minions in classic have a very good chance to actually see play in current standard, which is cool. It contextualizes like how powerful classic was or how weak current standard is, which is very interesting. But let's go to 2-drops. In classic, we have 3 neutral 2-drops that I want to talk about. Knife Juggler, Ironbeak Owl, and Bloodmage Thalnos. You could make the case there may be a couple other ones we could discuss. Maybe our Direwolf Alpha, maybe, but we're not here then. I personally think that Knife Juggler, Ironbeak Owl, and Thalnos, which is currently being played, could all see play in their own regard. But let's compare it to what the neutral 2-drops are currently in standard. We have Creature of Madness, which used to be a 2 mana 1/2 to be fair. Bloodmage Thalnos, which is currently seeing play, and Shadowed Informant. And I don't know about you guys. One of these pages looks better than the other one. There's just something about it. I do think Ironbeak Owl would see play if either a silence is needed or it could just be an auto include for aggro decks. Ironbeak at 2 mana could see play very easily in a wide variety of decks. Thalnos is already being played, and Knife Juggler, as much as I don't think it would be played currently in standard, you could maybe put in like Dude Paladin. All Juggler really needs is like a really good way to summon tokens, and all of a sudden Knife Juggler would see play because it is actually a pretty decent amount of damage if it sticks. And you can combo with it. The conversation is standard just giga weak at the moment? Like, is it turbo weak? Because if you go look like 5 years ago, I don't know if we can make the same argument, but it's interesting how there's not that much of a discrepancy in power currently from classic to standard. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. But that's only neutrals. And like I said, we can't compare neutrals to class cards, so let's see how it goes. In classic Hearthstone, I went through and I picked what I believe is the 3 best 2-cost cards that you could play for classes. Could make the case that something could replace Flame Tongue Totem here. We have Sorcerer's Apprentice, Starving Buzzard at 2, and Flame Tongue Totem. Sorcerer's Apprentice, in my mind, would be an auto include in a wide variety of mage decks. Starving Buzzard, which is one of the best draw cards we've ever seen for Hunter at 2 mana. Is anyone in chat gonna tell me there's not a chance that Buzzard sees play? Probably not. Now, Totem's an interesting one because Totem's actually not a horrible card. I think the reason why it looks worse than it would normally is because we have Herald for Shaman. And because Herald is in for Shaman, it just probably doesn't see a lot of play. You know what I mean? Totem is Herald before Herald, exactly. But let's see what we have and say, why is this so far to the right? Whatever, it's fine, production's fine. You guys can read this, right? I look to see what the best 2-cost minions are for classes in standard. Guys, don't say bro, Broxigar doesn't count. Okay, let me cook on it. We'll start with the other two first. Thank you. Violet Treasure Gill is a 2-mana 1/2 where the battle cry is to cast a random spell from your deck that costs 2 or less. Treasure Gill might be the best one in terms of playing it exactly on turn 2. Might be the best card here. Just because A, it draws you a card and puts it on the board. Very, very good card. Felwood Treant is also just wild growth, but it's a little worse. I most of the time would probably rather have wild growth because just like Broxigar, chat, you're not really putting the tree in on turn 2. Like you kind of put it on turn 3, turn 4. Broxigar is an interesting one because I wanted to showcase how far 2-drops have really come over the years, even though respectfully, it's not going to get played until very much later in the game. But this is technically a 2-drop that adds a wide variety of cards to your deck. We could argue the semantics of whether or not it should be on this slideshow, but technically it's a 2-drop. Now you might be saying to yourself, Rarran, Buzzard's a 2-drop, but you're not really playing Buzzard on 2. You're playing Buzzard later in the game. Sorcerer's Apprentice, you could also make the case that you're putting it later in the game. So that's why I figured, why not put Broxigar here? Would Apprentice, Buzzard, or Flame Tongue Totem see play currently in Standard? Apprentice, in my opinion, absolutely would. It's not even close. Mana cheating is just good. Buzzard, if the right deck was there for it, I think currently there would be a right deck for it. Easy, would see play. Ton of draw, very easy to play into a variety of 100 decks. Like the Animal Companion deck might love this card just for additional draw. Now the Totem, I feel like would see play if Herald was not in the game. There's a really decent chance that the Totem can just slide in and be just a decent minion to put on the board because it's fine. Are 2-cost minions that much weaker from Standard to Classic? You know what I mean? Isn't it interesting how you're probably thinking to yourself right now, you know, he's got a point. I'm not thinking that. Shut up. Classic. This is where we start to see more of a discrepancy, though. I will be honest here. Neutrals. I looked to see what the best 3-cost cards are for neutral minions. Big Game Hunter at 3 with no tradable. Earthen Ring Farseer and Harvest Skull. Now, I think we can probably just say it. None of these are probably going to see play. Whelp of the Infinite, Dark Scale Broodmother, and I figured I would toss in kind of a newbie in here because he looks very promising so far from what I can tell, which is the Tunneling Geomancer. Now, some of you are going to be like, Rarran, you're going to prepare it. It's not going to cost 3. Bro, it's still a 3-cost card. Let me have it, okay? Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. I think it's pretty obvious. They kind of suck. The classic Standard minions are not very, very good. There's other minions you probably were going to play instead, but I do think out of the 3 of them, Big Game Hunter has the highest chance, but I'm not very optimistic on it. Boys, this is where shit starts to really go off. We have Warsong Commander, Edwin Van Cleef, and Aldor Peacekeeper as what I believe to be the best 3-cost cards from Classic if we look at minions from class cards. I know that sounds is horrible. Right now, Warsong Commander would see play. In this iteration. Edwin Van Cleef would absolutely see play in current Standard. Card is crazy good right now. Now, Aldor Peacekeeper is an interesting one because I don't think it would necessarily just slot into a Paladin deck. There would have to be a particular one to see play, but I do think if that deck was actually in the game, Elder Peacekeeper could see play in the right deck. But let's look at what the 3-cost cards are for Standard. We have General Sylvanas, Darkscale wait, why is Broodmother here? We got General Sylvanas, Myrex, and Maniacal Follower, which currently all see play on their own regard. You know what? Hold on. Ranger General Sylvanas, Neri of the Crater, and Maniacal Follower. All 3 of these cards seeing consistent play on the Standard ladder. Now, I'm going to say something here. Ranger General Sylvanas, even without the other 2 sisters, I think is just one of the best 3-cost cards we've ever seen. Like, I think it's legitimately one of the best cards we've ever seen for 3-cost cards. It is incredible. Now, that's not even thinking about the fact that it can do 6 damage, which is insane. Neri's also very good. A lot of value, a lot of tempo. Maniacal Follower is just a pretty decent card. You can look at it as, for those of you who are watching this and have only, you know, you saw this video and you're recommended, it's like, how much power creep is in Hearthstone? And you got to this point in the video. First of all, welcome. We don't get a lot of new viewers here. My community, by the way, very supportive. We want more people on the stream. You should come. It basically just reads at a random card from a different class that costs 1 less. For anyone who's curious. That being said, as good as these 3 cards are, chat, I don't know. Other than Aldor Peacekeeper, Warsong Commander, Edwin Van Cleef, pretty good. Pretty good cards here. So the question is, would Edwin, Warsong, or Aldor see play today? Edwin, abso-fucking-lutely. If there's a single no in this chat, you're banned on God. Welcoming community, by the way. War Song Commander would always be a consideration. As soon as there's some kind of wacky ass combo, the card would see play. That being said, gamers, right now in standard, War Song Commander would see play, because we basically have Patron Warrior in the game. Basically, we have Grim Patron in the game right now. Next on the list, we have 4 cost neutral cards. This one is gonna be a fucking clap for standard, but let's get into this. We have the GOAT, Chillwin Yeti, Senjin Sealed Master, and Defender of Argus. All right, well, let's see what the standard neutral cards are. Nightmare Lord Xavius, Elise, and I put this guy in here because realistically, you're not playing it as a 7 cost card. It is a 4 cost card. Okay, I don't want to hear Rarran, it says 7. It's not. It's 4 mana. It's 4 mana. All of these cards are infinitely better than these 4 cards. It's not even close. So the question is, would any of these cards see play? No Omega, lol. It's not even close, baby. Let's look at the best class cards for classic at 4 cost, right? Or for minions, I should say. Keeper of the Grove, 4 mana 2/4, choose 1, deal 2 damage or silence a minion. Prorcon Elite, 4 mana 4/3 with charge. Auchenai Soul Priest, 4 mana 3/5. Your cards and powers that restore health now deal damage instead. Okay. Now, I know what you're thinking, what a fucking difference it is from this to this. It's crazy. It's like we're a completely different expansion at this point. I'm gonna say something. Keeper of the Grove, I don't think would see play. I think it's too slow at this point in standard. Prorcon Elite, I think would see play. I actually think Prorcon Elite is the best card here. You guys are saying Auchenai Soul Priest? Incorrect. Prorcon Elite is the best card here. It's not even close. It's actually insane. Auchenai Soul Priest, I think, has a chance to see play. If you think Prorcon Elite is worse than Auchenai Soul Priest, again, the door is like right there or whatever it is. Standard, I picked 4 cards here. Archmage Calic, which we've seen variety of times if you're going against mage, you know what it is. Manifested Timeways, which is basically just a 4 mana deal 3 to everything, which I think is fucking insane, to be honest with you. And we have Stadium Announcer, which is a card that is played in a variety of warrior tempo decks because it is actually just a very good tempo card. All of these cards are good. All these cards are good. And the question is, chat, is Classic that much worse than the 4 cost cards here? Probably, right? Like, I think it's pretty obvious. Like, you know, I can make the case that maybe, no, you're incorrect, whatever, but it's definitely, the Classic cards are definitely worse in this case. But the question is, would Keeper, Elite, or Soul Priest would see play today? I forgot the word C. Hold on. Professional, hold on. Keeper, I don't think would. I think it's too slow. I think the problem with Keeper of the Grove is that it's kind of just poo. Like, it's too slow at this point. We have a better silence minion, so it wouldn't see play. Elite would absolutely see play if there was enough buffs in standard. And guess what, guys? There is enough buffs in standard that I think Elite would see play very easily. Now, Soul Priest, I think, would see play. It's just a conversation of, do you want 1 copy? How much redundancy do we need for that type of effect? Yes, it does fit very nicely into the Priest deck, but do you really need it is the question when it comes down to. But that being said, you idiots forgot the most important card in Classic that costs 4 mana, and I can't believe not a single person in chat said it. Guys, Leroy was 4 mana in Classic, and it is the best 4 cost card that we have seen on top of all these cards from previous. It's crazy. Leroy is the GOAT, and Leroy would absolutely see play in current standard. It's not even close. This card would be played in literally every single deck, or maybe not every single deck, but you know what I mean. Anyways, Classic 5 cost neutral minions. We have Azure Drake as a 5 mana 4/4, and we have Gadgetzan Auctioneer as a 5 mana 4/4. One of these cards I think would absolutely see play. The other one, I don't know, but one of these would absolutely see play. Absolutely see play. But let's see what we currently have in standard. Tormented Dreadwing, kind of an okay card. Envoy of the End. Taunt, Battlecry, Herald, your Colossal, could be good. Okay, can I say something, guys? The 5 cost cards for neutral, at least in standard, are absolutely ass. Absolutely ass 11. Like, Envoy's fine because Envoy, you know, works for a better win condition, but a lot of the 5 cost cards in standard are horrible. Auctioneer breaks the game. Easy clap. Would absolutely see play in the right deck. Astro Drake's a really interesting one because maybe in a dragon deck where you need dragon synergies, maybe it would see play. I'm not 100% like, it may be in Druid, maybe in Warrior. I'm not sure. The average, like I've said before, the average 5 cost minion here is not super good. I'm just not that optimistic on it. But that being said, Auctioneer is very, very good. Okay, now we go to class cards. Doomguard, very good card in Classic Hearthstone, one of the best. And Tundra Rhino is the other one I was considering because, you know what? Actually, hold on. Okay, Druid of the Claw At 5 mana 4/4, choose one charge or +2 health and taunt was very good for Druid. Doomguard was very good for Warlock in a variety of different decks. And Tundra Rhino was always there lurking in the background. Was always lurking there in the background. Now, the reason I brought up Tundra Rhino is because to not prove my point, but to kind of add to the thesis here, I do think Tundra Rhino would see play in current standard. Okay, I think it would see play in current standard. But let's see what the current class cards are for standard at 5. 5 drops generally seem to suck. I'm going to be completely honest. Now, I know you're thinking, Rarran, that worm is 8 cost, but let's be honest here. You're playing it for 5. Don't fucking lie to me. You're playing it for 5. Let's be honest here. Nas Dormu, though, was, I think, currently one of the most ridiculous 5 cost cards we've ever seen in the game. And quite literally, I think it's like maybe top 5 drops of all time. I think this card's crazy. Me personally, I don't know about you guys. I think every time my opponent plays Nas Dormu, I kind of scream at my PC a little bit. It's fucking crazy. Doomguard or Rhino C play. Doomguard is a maybe. Again, I think it kind of needs like a power overwhelming type effect, or like it needs to fit into like the high end of a Zoo Warlock deck. Rhino would absolutely see play currently, but maybe not for the reason you think. It's mainly because the Animal Companion deck is so good. But that being said, there's also Imbue. Anyways, let's go to 6. For neutral, oh shit, hold on. Oh shoot, hold on. Don't look, I forgot something. Oh shoot, it's a mess. Hold on. All right, we got Sylvanas Windrunner, 6 mana 5/5, death metal, take control of a random enemy minion. And we have Karen, 6 mana 4/5. Oh shoot, hold on. My boss is gonna have my ass. Okay, we got classic Sylvanas Windrunner, 6 mana 5/5, death rattle, take control of a random enemy minion. And Karen Bloodhoof, a 6 mana 4/5 that has the death rattle summon a 4/5 as well, which is absolutely fantastic in classic Hearthstone, because classic Hearthstone had a lot more value. It wasn't as easy to get it, and having a huge minion like this that was able to either steal a minion or survive removal was fantastic. But in standard, we currently have Altraxian, which is, you know, a good stat line. It also heralds your Colossal, which, remember the rogue thing from earlier if you haven't played. Very good card, works for the better package of heralding. But more importantly, we have Vanessa Ringleader. I'm going to show you guys the art for people who haven't seen it. Very good art. This has 6 mana 4/4 prepare. After you play a card, you get a random battlecry minion. It costs 2 less. Guys, I'm going to say something here, and this might break some of your hearts. I'm going to be completely honest. It might break some of them. Would Sylvanas or Karen C played today? No, neither of them would. Generally, death rattles are gotten worse. What am I a fucking pirate? Death rattles have gotten worse over time. Next, for classic class minions, we have Savannah Highmane and we have Cabal Shadow Priest. You will start to notice a trend actually at this point, which is a lot of the cards as we get to higher mana costs in classic are kind of ass. I'm just going to be completely honest. So one thing we will see over the course of the next little bit here is that a lot of the cards in standard that are higher mana costs typically do a lot more than they used to. Would Savannah Highmane or Cabal Shadow Priest see play? Well, let's see what the class cards are currently in standard. We have Daddy Wickerfang, which is just, it's insane. I'm not going to go through the semantics of what this card does. If you know, you know. Or Skillbreaker Bulwark, which I think is another card that's a bit silly. Very, very frustrating. Can just, you know, clear a minion. And I think if you just look at both of them, it's like, you know what I mean? I'm just going with no. I think there's a couple high rolls for sure that you can make with Cabal Shadow Priest in current standard. Like if you steal the turtle and be sick, but for the most part, it is not playable. So we'll go to 7. 7, we have Baron Geddon, but it was not a 7/7, it was a 7/5. And you have War Golem. Don't you guys love War Golem? For a 7 mana 7/7, not only do we get the same stats as we did in standard, but now your first dragon each turn costs 1. And it used to say your dragons cost 1 this game, which is even more insane. Now, yeah, it's a legendary versus a neutral, like whatever. But like, you know what I mean? The power creep is clearly there for a 7 mana 7/7. Then we have Umbra. I picked Umbra here because I needed a second 7 cost card realistically to compare to 2 cards in standard. But I was like, do I go for Deos or do I go for Umbra? I feel like Umbra is just like the cooler card in my opinion, but I think we can just see that like on average 7 cost cards do a lot more than they used to. So then we go to class minions. Ancient of Lore, a 7 mana 5/5. You get to choose. Ancient Allure, 7 mana 5/5, choose 1, draw 2 cards, or restore 5 health. Or we had Archmage Antonidas. These are what I believed is going to be the 2 best 7 drops you can look up for class cards. And to be honest with you, I think it's, well, I mean, it's pretty apparent if you play standard. These aren't very good currently. These aren't very good currently. I'm unlucky, but let's see what the class cards are, right? I just picked 2 Druid ones because Druid is like pretty good here. Under King I think is pretty decent. It's used play currently right now. A lot of armor gain. It's removal like on the rush stick, whatever. And Bashana, dare I say, what a card. What a fucking card. Yeah, it's a little slow at 7 mana, but then you get all those treants. And if you hit like a nutty spell, god damn, it goes crazy. Would Ancient of Lore or Archmage Antonidas see play? So, anyways, Classic had neutral legendary known as Ragnaros the Fire Lord. You know the GOAT. I want to believe in Tony. I believe he's in Standard right now, is he not? And he does not see any play. Yeah, he's in Standard right now. So the fact you guys didn't know that is probably says a lot, right? Anyways, Ragnaros the Fire Lord was one of, actually, was the only neutral card I think you're considering at 8 mana. I'm gonna put it like that. I think Rag is the only one that you would be considering. And during Ragnaros' time, kind of amazing. Obviously, as we've seen as Hearthstone has aged, this effect has not been super good. It was in Standard a little bit ago and it did not see any play, which is, you know, probably obvious why it's here. But anyways, currently in Standard, the only 8 cost card I think is like actually good is Malorn, but Malorn is like a lot of imbuing. It takes a little bit of time to set up. It's not as just like, let me drop Ragnaros on the board. So you could make the case that like Rag is fine, but would Ragnaros see any play? I thought about it a lot. I was like, is there any way we can make Rag see play? But like, it's not. And they've done so much power creep on Rag. It's kind of sad to see the mighty has fallen. But in Classic, we got Gromosh Hellscream, 8 mana 4/9 charge, has 6 attack while damaged. And we have Alakir. Alakir was an 8 mana 3/5 back in the day, and both of them were actually pretty playable. In Standard, we have Marithria of the Dream and the Great Dracorex. Both of them, I think, are respectively very good in their own class. But I'm starting to notice it. Have you guys noticed a trend? I don't know if you guys have seen the trend recently, but anything with charge is pretty good. Charge generally means, as long as they're not like the worst statted cost cards ever, charge is probably going to see play in some way or another. In Classic for 9 cost neutrals, we have Alex Straza. Really cool effect. It saw a variety of play in combo decks. The thing is, I don't know if Alex is fast enough to see play currently. In the Standard, we have Yserald Emerald Aspect, which is a 9 mana 4/12 start a game, increase both players maximum mana by 5 and battlecry gain 3 mana gross. Do you guys think Alex Straza right now would see play? Alex is a really weird one because not every deck would want to run it. It could be the difference maker of winning a game. Neralax plus Alex Straza, I think, would be one of the best combos you could do in the game. Now, is that the case that Neralax is broken? Yes. I do think Alex would see play. In the right deck, there's a decent chance it would see play. That's my honest opinion. Now, I don't know if it's necessarily better than Ysera because they both do different niches, but that's okay. At class cards, we have King Crush. King Crush was not really played back in Classic. Now, like Tundra Rhino, there is a significant difference between mana cheating, having mana cheating and not having mana cheating. But I think if mana cheating wasn't involved, I don't know if King Crush is going to see play. I really don't. It's questionable to say the least. At 9 mana, we have Twilight Mistress. This is another interesting question to have. What is the better card here, chat? Would Crush see play today? Currently, yes, but likely not going to get paid. Likely not going to get played without a way to mana cheat it. Classic neutral 10 cost minions. We have Sea Giant and Deathwing. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. Rarran, you're not playing a Sea Giant on 10. You're not playing it on 10. You're an absolute fucking donkey. You're not playing on 10. It is a 10 cost card. It was a 10 cost card. And would Sea Giant see play today? Hell fucking yeah, it would. Deathwing? Nah. Deathwing didn't even say back in Classic, bro. The card was trash. In Standard, we have Briarspawn Drake and Fireact the Blazing, which both of them I think objectively are just really fine 10 cost cards. Fireact obviously really good. It used to say 20 mana worth of fire spells at random enemies, but both these cards did see play in their own right. Now the Drake one is a little iffy because it did get mana cheated. So what did we learn? Current Standard minions are weak or Classic was nuts. What do we think was the outcome of this? Because Classic for its time was extremely powerful. Like it actually was very good. But what did we learn here, chat? What did we learn here? I think overall what we learned was charge is very good. Classic had better minions than we probably remember it being. 2026 Standard Hearthstone might be a little weak compared to other years. If we did this at a different year, maybe it would have been completely a wash. But I think this was a cool comparison, and it was cool to see how similar it was in terms of power level from Classic to Standard. Chat, that is my presentation on power creep and the difference between Standard and Classic. What did we think out of 10? Anyways, that's my presentation. Chat, would you guys like A, to see more of this? B, was this fun? This took like, I don't want to call it like a decent amount of time, but it definitely took some time. So I don't know if this is going to be good enough again, but I thought this was fun. Maybe we'll do it again in the future.